With the Galaxy S25 Ultra set to be announced next month, I figured I'd do a year update on my experience with the Galaxy S24 Ultra so far. And for the most part, this has hands down been one of my favorite phones to use all throughout 2024. It's held up very well. It's been very consistent, and the Ultra series just goes on as being some of the best phone hardware that you can get today. Now, from a design standpoint, I haven't really damaged or dirty this phone too much. I'll be honest with you, I'm a case guy. I usually rock minimalistic cases. As you can see here, I'm using this ceramic fiber case that I got off AliExpress. Fun fact, instead of paying extra for like the Pataka cases, just go on AliExpress. They sell the exact same ones for a little bit cheaper. I'll place a link to this in the description down below. But this titanium frame has been holding up very well. Like, yes, it gets a lot of fingerprints, but it's just fingerprints. There's no scratches, there's no scuffs. It's just been a solid device to use. Now, I know the S25 Ultra is supposed to round out the corners a little bit and make the phone look a bit more refined, but here's the thing. I don't care if they're square or round. All I care about is they don't make the display curved. I don't want any phone to have a curved display. Typing on a flat one is always significantly easier. Now, my biggest complaint about this phone is the front-facing camera. It's the fact that when I wanted to use facial recognition, it doesn't do a good job when it's dark. That's one of the advantages of the iPhone. Their version of their Face ID system, the cameras they use can unlock your phone, doesn't matter how much light is outside. Most Android phones tend to suffer from this. Not all, but a lot of them do. I want a proper Face ID built into this. I live in a cold country. I don't want to be outdoors taking off my gloves every single time I have to unlock my phone to use my finger. I want my face to do it instead. I want this phone to look at my ugly face at night. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say here. Okay. But yeah, the fingerprint scanner unlocks the phone very fast. One thing that I love about Samsung devices, especially on the Ultra, is the display. This is hands down one of the most beautiful displays I've ever looked at. And I hope Samsung starts a trend with this anti-reflective coating, because I feel like this is one of the most underrated features on a phone today. You don't understand, like, our phones are constantly going where we go, and it goes through so many different environments with different lighting happening, right? Like, you're outside, you're getting hit with the sun. You're indoors, you have tungsten lights, then LED lights, and it's constantly bouncing off the screen. The fact that this can reduce the reflection makes looking at content on your phone so much better. Yes, you do lose a little bit of vibrancy, even with the vibrant slider all the way up in the settings, but it's totally worth it, because the phone itself, the display itself, is still more vibrant than most phones that are available today. The stereo speakers on this are fantastic. They sound amazing. I still feel like the iPhone 16 Pro Max or even 15 Pro Max has a little bit better tuning, but this is very, very close. The performance on this has also been incredible. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 inside of this thing is just an absolute monster. And even today, it has been running great. The only thing I wish Samsung would do, and this is more for me as an enthusiast, most regular consumers probably don't care, is hurry up with the updates. I want One UI 7 on this thing. And I understand it's not going to come out probably until the S25 Ultra is released, but I bet you this phone is probably not going to get it for a couple of months later. Whereas other devices like the Google Pixel or Apple's iPhone gets those updates immediately. And I understand Android manufacturers usually tend to be a little bit later because they have to fine tune it since they don't get day one access to the operating system. But as an enthusiast, I want One UI 7 because I feel like it's going to make this phone even better than it is now. Now, the S Pen has always been a hot topic. Now, I'm not an S Pen guy, so I'll be straight up with you. I've probably used this twice to write on my screen. If I'm taking out the S Pen, it's mostly to tap on it to take a photo. But yeah, I'm just not the demographic for the S Pen. I also like the fact that it has DeX. Again, something that I'll probably never use, but the idea that I can turn my phone into a proper desktop experience whenever I want to is crazy to think about. Even though that's probably not for me, I know some of you out there actually use it and love it. But the battery life on this has been good for the most part, like no problem making it through the entire day. I mean, there has been a few times where it was a little inconsistent, where the battery did drain for no apparent reason, but usually a quick restart or a power down and power up solved that issue. And again, this is not like it happened all the time, but it happened more often than other Android phones that I used throughout the entire year. But definitely a day to 1.5, never any battery anxiety. What's also good is the camera experience. Like, you just have so many lenses to play with. Like, this phone is a lot of fun to use. 8K if you want to crop in later on, if you're using it for video editing. And even though the video is not as good as the iPhone, there are a few settings that you can change around to get so close. Like, what I usually do is I shoot on pro mode. I change the bit rate to a high bit rate, and just those two settings alone get you much closer video to what the iPhone can do. The beauty about the pictures coming from this device is they're usually just ready for social media. They're a little bit more vibrant, they're a little bit brighter than most other phones on the market, and it just gives you a look that's ready to go. And of course, you can always turn this off and shoot manually if you want to customize your own settings later. But I do want to talk about AI for a second. Like, there were a bunch of new features released with this, most of them coming from Google, like circle to search, for example. I never use it, like never at all. I maybe used it once, but it's one of those features that is there in the event you do need it. Like, you'll probably maybe use it 3 times throughout the entire time you own the device, and it's fine, you know? Live transcriptions have been absolutely solid. This device is able to pick up exactly what I'm saying, no matter how fast I'm talking. Live translate, haven't used it either. I just haven't been to too many places where I needed to translate a different language. So here's the bottom line. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is obviously still an incredible phone, and for the most part, it's nailed basically everything you want in a phone today. If you have one right now, even when the S25 Ultra comes out, like, don't even think about upgrading. Like, this phone is still going to be good for the next 2 years because it basically has every feature you can think of. And that's what Samsung has always done well. Give you every feature you can think of on a smartphone. Even if it's something so small, you can probably find it somewhere in the settings. And most importantly, if you can get a deal on this now, buy the phone. You know, with Black Friday being here and the fact that they're coming out with a new device in the next month, there's probably a lot of sales on this phone. And even though the S25 Ultra will be newer and better, at the end of the day, I promise you it's not going to be that much better. And if you can save yourself some money, why not? You know, because this phone is still an absolute monster. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll place a link to this in the description. Like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.